Hi there, this is Susan Norrell, and we are going to be talking about using the distributive property with integers to simplify expressions. So you'll notice that using the distributive property here, we're going to be distributing positive integers to these values in the to these expressions inside parentheses. We're also going to be distributing negative integers to these expressions inside parentheses. And then we're going to have to combine like terms. So let's just go ahead and get started. We'll switch to the next slide. So within this first example here, you'll notice that the value that we're distributing is going to be this positive 3. We're going to distribute it to the first term inside the parentheses and to the second term. So we're going to distribute it to a positive 5n and to a positive 2. We do not distribute it to any values on the other side of the parentheses. So let's go ahead and get started here. We'll take the 3 and we'll distribute it to 5n. So that's going to be 3 times 5n. Sorry, I'm writing with a mouse, so you'll have to excuse any messy writing. And then we're also going to distribute the 3 times positive 2. So that would be plus 3 times 2. Now we're done distributing, so we're simply going to bring down this minus 4n here. Now we can start with the 3 times 5n. We know that positive 3 times positive 5, positive times a positive is still a positive. So that's going to give me positive 15n. Now really what that looks like is 3 times 5n is 5n plus 5n plus 5n. I've got 3 of them, which is what gives me that 15n. Now I have 3 times 2, which is going to give me positive 3 times positive 2 is going to give me positive 6. And then once again, I'll bring down that minus 4n. Now you will notice that I have 2 like terms here. I have the 15n minus the 4n. So basically what I have here is I have 5n plus 5n plus 5n minus 4n. So if I have 5n plus 5n plus 5n is 15n minus 4n, 15n minus 4n, so I've got 15 minus 4 is going to give me 15, 14, 13, 12, 11n. And then I still have this plus 6 here. Now the reason we're not doing anything with that plus 6 is because basically what I have here is 11 n's. I have n plus n, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 n's, and then I have 6 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see here that I cannot combine n's with ones. They're two completely different things. See, I don't know the value of n. If I did, then I could plug it in here and multiply it by 11 and then add that 6. But since I don't know n, I'm just going to leave that 11 times n, and then I've got my plus 6. So this here is going to be my final simplified expression. All right, let's go to the second example. I'm going to get you started on this one, and then I'm going to ask you to pause the video and see if you can try this one on your own here. We've got this 8. It's not being distributed to anything. The only thing being distributed is this positive 7. You're going to distribute the positive 7 times the 4. So that would be 8 plus 7 times 4. And then you've got to distribute the 7, positive 7 times positive 2b. So positive times a positive is still another positive. So plus 7 times 2b. So go ahead, pause the video, see if you can finish this one on your own. All right, if you haven't tried, go ahead and try. If you have tried, let's see how you did. So we know that in an order of operations, we've got to do this multiplication before we can try to add in that 8 there. So we're going to keep that 8. But 7 times 4 is going to give me 28. And then we have 7 times 2b. That's going to be 2b plus 2b plus 2b, 7 of these, right? I'll put this little ... 7 of them. So 7 times 2 would give me 14. 14 b's. So here are my like terms, 8 and 28. The b's are by themselves. So 8 plus 28 will give me 36. So 36 plus 14b would be my final answer here. Okay, that is a B, in case my sloppy mouse is making that look like a 6. That's a B. Okay, next one. This one's kind of like the first one. So again, I want you to pause the video and see if you can try this one completely on your own before you watch to see how this one is run. All right, if you have not paused the video, please try to do so. You're going to distribute the positive 2 to the positive 1, positive 2 times positive 1. This time you're going to have a positive 2 times a negative 9v. That's a minus 9v. But I want you to remember that when we're multiplying integers here, we have a positive 2 times a value here. So we've got to take this minus sign, and we've got to kind of think of that minus as a negative 9v when we're thinking about multiplying it times this integer out here. So we're going to say that that is times a negative 9v. So we can do this as minus. If we're going to look at it as a minus sign, then we can do that. We can look at it as positive 2 times negative 9v, or we can look at it as minus 2 times positive 9v. You can look at it as a minus sign, or you can look at it as a negative sign. You just don't want to change it to both. And then we're going to bring down the minus 9v over here because that one is not included in the parentheses. Therefore, nothing is being distributed to it. Okay, so we'll do multiplication before we try to do anything with this negative or this minus 9v here. So 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 2 times positive 9v, or 2 times negative 9v would give me negative 18v. Doesn't matter which number you make negative in your scenario. A positive times a negative or a negative times a positive, either way you're going to get a negative there. Or if you look at that as a minus positive times a positive, you'll get minus a positive. Either way, you're going to keep your signs straight there. And then bring down your minus 9v. Okay, now as we combine our like terms here, the 2 is over here by itself because there's no other solo numbers. So we're going to leave the 2 there. And here are our like terms, but we got to keep the signs with the numbers. So we're going to look at this as a negative 18v minus 9v. So think about it. If you're negative 18 feet below the water and you go down 9 more feet, now you're going to be 27 feet below the water. So if your signs are the same, add the numbers and keep the sign. So that's going to be minus 27v. And there's your final answer. All right, so once again, let me just go back over this. Positive 2 times negative 9v is negative 18v. Or you could look at that as negative 2 times positive 9v is negative 18v. Or you can look at this as a minus sign and say that that is a positive 2 times a positive 9, which is minus positive 18v. So you can think of those interchangeably there. And then when you combine this minus 18v and minus 9v, negative 18v, negative 9v, you can think of adding those two negatives together, or you can think of the fact that you are already 18 feet below the water and you're going down 9 more feet. So try to think of these positive and negative numbers logically, not always just by rules. All right, let's move on. Here we're going to have a variable outside and a variable inside. So let's try this one. This variable here is outside, nothing we can do with it yet. We're going to have to distribute this negative integer to the variable inside and to the number inside. So we've kind of got a little bit of work cut out for us. So we're going to take the negative 7 times x. So negative 7 times x. Well, that one won't be too hard. And then we'll take the negative 7 times the positive 7. All right. right, we'll bring down our positive 8x again. Now we have negative 7 times positive x, which would just give us negative 7x. Negative times a positive is a negative. And again, here with this one, negative 7 times positive 7. A negative times a positive is a negative. And 7 times 7 is 49. And this one isn't too bad on us because our two like terms here, 8x minus 7x, is really going to kind of make it easy for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 x's, and then I'm going to subtract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And of course, I don't want to forget my minus 49 here. So I've got 8 x's, and I'm going to subtract 7 of them. So we know that x minus x is just going to be 0. X minus x is 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 going to be 0, and lo and behold, I'm left with one positive x value. Well, doesn't that make sense? Because 8 minus 7 is just 1 x value. So that's going to leave me with 1x minus 49. And there is my final answer. Not too shabby. All right. Now you're distributing a negative. And this one is actually going to have to be times a positive and then times a negative. So you're going to distribute the negative 8 times the positive 6. But then you're going to have to also distribute the negative 8 times the negative 7n. So why don't you pause the video and see if you can try this one on your own. All right, if you haven't tried this one on your own, I really encourage you to pause it and try it on your own. No one's going to know if you messed up. All right, we're going to distribute the negative 8 times the positive 6. And then we're going to do the, I guess you could do negative 8, so maybe minus positive 8 times the negative 7n. Doesn't really matter if you look at that as a minus sign, or if you want to put a plus sign and say plus negative 8 times negative 7n. It doesn't really matter which way you want to look at that. Just make sure you bring down your plus 5n over here. You don't want to leave him off. That will totally mess up your answer. All right, so a negative 8 times a positive 6 is going to give us a negative, what is that? Why am I drawing a blank? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that. 48. Sorry, I had to go back to my kids' multiplication table. Negative 48. A negative 8 times a negative 7. So a negative times a negative is going to give me positive. So now I'm going to get to put a plus sign. Plus 56. 8 times 7 is 56. So that would give me a 56 in. And remember, it's because you have set negative 7 in, or it's because you've got negative times a negative, so positive. So you would have 7 in plus 7 in plus 7 in plus 7 in. You'd have 8 of them, right? So it's going to give you a total of 56 ins. And then don't forget your plus 5 in over here. Okay, bring down your negative 48. Here's your lonesome number, and then your like terms here. Positive 56 in plus 5 in. Notice I always include the sign in front of the numbers. When I'm trying to look at like terms, I always include the sign in front of the number. So 56 plus 5 would give me 61. Plus 61 in. And that will give me my final expression. Woo! Mouse went crazy. Okay. This one, you're going to have a negative times a negative, and then another negative times another negative. You can do this. Pause the video, distribute, and then combine your like terms. All right. You're going to distribute your negative 4 to the negative 6a and your negative 4 to the negative 7. But the first thing you have to do is you got to bring down this positive 4 in front. So negative 4 times negative 6a and then minus 4 times negative 7. Now again, you may be wondering, where am I getting that minus 4? I'm getting it because that's the sign in front of the 4 that I'm distributing. So 4 minus 4 times negative 6a minus 4 times negative 7. So bring down my 4. Negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 6 is 24, so positive 24a. And that's because these are a's. I have 4 6a's, right? I have 6a plus 6a plus 6a plus 6a. I got 4 of them. Then I have another negative times a negative is a positive. And then 4 times 7 is 28. Now, here are my two like terms. My A's are my lonesomes. 24 A's are all I have. I'm not going to draw out all those A's this time, though. But now I have 4 ones plus 28 ones. So 4 plus 28 is 32. And there's my final expression. Okay, now we move to 2 distributive property expressions. So this time I've got to distribute the -4 to the -20 and then to the 7k. And then over here I got to distribute this +6 to the -9 and to the -k. And then I have to go and combine all the different like terms. So let's try one together, and then I'm going to ask you to try one on your own. So -4 times -20 and -4 times +7k would be -4 times +7k. Okay, now I'm done with this first set. So I'll come over here and notice this one is a +6. So I've got plus 6 times -9 and then plus 6 times -k. Okay, now I just start multiplying these out. Negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 20 is 80. So I have +80. Negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 7k would be 28k. So -28k. So minus 28k. I knew it was minus because I got this negative. So minus 28k. Okay, positive times a negative is a negative. So it's going to be minus. 6 times 9 is 54. So minus 54. And then positive times a negative is a negative. So minus 6 times k is 6k. Don't you wish we were talking like k's, like thousands of dollars? 6k, $6,000. It could just be me because I'm broke. All right. Sorry, side note. That's just what happens when you have surgery. You're all broke afterwards. 80 and 54 would be our 2 like terms. And negative 28k and negative 6k. So we're going to combine our k's and we're going to combine our numbers. So we've got 80 minus 54. Remember, we're going to take the signs in front of the numbers. So 80 minus 54. So 80 minus 50 would give me 30. Minus 4 more would give me 26. So 26. Now we've got our k's. Negative 28k and negative 6k. So a negative plus a negative, we're going to add the numbers together because they have the same sign, and we're just going to keep the same sign. So 28 plus 6 should give me 34k, negative 34k. So minus 34k. And there's your final expression. All right. That one wasn't as scary as maybe you thought it was going to be. So now I want you to try this last one on your own. You're going to distribute the negative 17 to both terms inside the parentheses, first set. Then you're going to distribute the positive 3 to both terms inside the second set of parentheses. And then you're going to have to combine the like terms. Pause the video. Try this last one on your own. Okay, if you hadn't tried it on your own, please pause the video and at least try. We'll multiply the negative 17 times 1. We'll multiply negative 17 times 16p. Ooh, might have to break my calculator out for that one. Then we'll come over here to the second set of parentheses, plus 3 times 15p. Plus 3 times negative 10. All right, so a negative times a positive is a negative. Negative 17 times 1 would give me negative 17. And I'm afraid 17 times 16 in my head is probably going to let me down. So let's do 17 times 16. Yeah, that's 272. Not sure what they were thinking giving me that one. But a negative times a positive is going to give me negative. So this would be minus 272p. And then we have positive times a positive. So 3 times 15p would give me 45p. And then a positive times a negative will give me a negative. So that would be negative 30. All right, now we'll combine our numbers and we'll combine our p-values. So we have negative 17 and negative 30. Always take the sign in front of the number. So negative 17 and negative 30. Think about it. If you're negative 17, if you're 17 feet below the water level and you go down 30 more feet, now you're 47 feet below the water level. Negative 47. And negative 272p and positive 45p. your signs are different. If your signs are different, you're going to subtract your values. So 272 minus 45 is 227. And you're going to take the sign of the bigger number. So think about it. You're 272 feet below the water level, and you come up 45 feet. Now you're closer to sea level, right? So it makes sense that you would be at negative 227 feet. Because, I mean, think of all the Shark Week movies. It makes sense that you would be closer to the surface. Okay, so now this is going to be your final answer there, your final expression. Okay, guys, so these are all the examples I've gone over. I have put these websites into the resources there in the module and in the announcements. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email, call, text, whatever you guys need. I'm here to help. Have a great day.